Hey there and welcome to Matt's Garage. Today we're going to be changing the fuel pump on a 99 Ford Expedition. So this is going to be quite similar for 97 to 2003 Ford F150s and Ford Expeditions. So if you need to see that repair, this is going to be very detailed step by step. So the fuel tank's dislocated under the left side of the vehicle here. And I'm going to get the vehicle jacked up in a second, but you can see we're going to have to get the straps undone, get the tank lowered down. I'm hoping it's not full. The battery's dead right now, so I'm not sure how much fuel's in the tank. Okay guys, you can see I've got it jacked up really good. I've got blocking under there, and I left my jack under there, and I put blocks under the tires, whatever I could do to get it up higher and safer. So now we've got lots of cardboard down here. You can see somebody's had it out recently. You see the straps are loose. The story I heard is they actually put a used fuel pump in and it failed right away. I also noticed just now that they have a sheet metal screw in the tank there. So that must be how they drained down the tank, and it looks like it's leaking. So it just looks like some 13 millimeters in there on the straps. And we'll have that drop down. And then I assume there's a plug up on the top, and there's the fill hose at the back. Okay guys, we're just going to start by removing the fill hose off of here. So it's 8 millimeter or 5/16 on that hose clamp there. And then I believe originally the other ones would have been both spring clamps like that right there. Somebody's gone and put hose clamps, so those will probably be 1/4 inch. Okay, so we got that right up out of our way. Now what I'm going to do is clean really good around here so that we're not getting debris into our tank. It does look like the last guy who was in here was really sloppy, so it's kind of a moot point, but he did put a fresh fuel filter on it, so there's that. There we go. So I'm going to clog the hole now with shop towel. And I will clog this too with shop towel. Okay, I got a 1/4 inch nut driver, and it's smaller than that. Luckily I brought a flat blade screwdriver. It'll work just about as well. Okay, there's one off. 2 off. I think we can lower the tank now and get the other lines off, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just noticing there is one 13 millimeter fastener right here, right up behind the coil spring on the rear tank strap. So you have to get that off as well. Okay guys, you will need one of these to remove the fuel line. It releases the internal clips in there. So once you get the tank down, that's what you'll need. So I'm just going to finish getting the straps off. I've got that rear strap. I just got the middle and the front strap left. And then the tank should drop right down, and we can get at the pump, which is on the top of the tank. Don't know if these hook or bolt on the other side. I should have checked first. Will they bolt? Okay. I can just let that sit like that. Here. So there's a spring clamp here on this vent line, guys. There we go. I'm just going to put a block of wood under the rear of the tank to take a little pressure off those lines. See those lines up there, and the power plug for the pump. So we get the safety clips off first. Okay guys, so this inserts up into there to release internal clips. you want to press in on the line as you're inserting the tool so there's not pressure on the clips. So get your tool up here and then start pushing on the line, and then get your tool worked in there, and then you should be able to. Sometimes they're stubborn. Just try again. Sometimes they get dirt in them. If you have an air gun, you can clear them out with that. There we go, just like that. And just a little bit of fuel will come out of there. There we go, 2 for 2. Now we just need to unplug this connector, which couldn't be simpler, but they could have dirt in them. That's the one thing. And somebody's kind of messed with this one, so I'm gonna have to persuade it apart with a screwdriver, I'm afraid. There we go, I got it. Of course it was off camera when I did. So there we go, guys, we're ready to pull the tank out from under the truck here. So here we go, the fuel pump is under here. So we just have to loosen off this lock ring, but of course we're gonna clean really good all around here first. Okay guys, I'm just gonna use a little bit of Varsol, which is like a solvent like paint thinner. And I'm just gonna clean up the top of the tank here. A little bit of shop towel. I don't think the last guy who was in here took the time to do this, but if you treat something like junk, it will become junk. So. Okay, now we just have to grab this ring with both hands and turn it counterclockwise. Oh. Sometimes you can get them by hand. What I'll have to do is drive it around with a hammer and something gentle on there. I'll go find a little block of wood or something I can drive it around with. So I'll just use this wooden handled wire brush. Can probably get it by hand now. There we go. Now you don't want to wildly pull that assembly up. You want to wipe more because there's dirt trapped under the ring and dirt around the edge of the threads here. I'm actually holding down on this to make sure the seal doesn't get broken just yet. Okay guys, we're ready to lift out the pump. I ran out of shop towels, so doing that, but it should just lift up. And you just want to be careful with that float arm. You kind of have to angle this piece up and then the float comes out last. You don't want to pressure that arm at all because you will damage it. So that's our actual pump right there. That's what we're changing. And I just got this clean box here that I'm going to lay the assembly out on. And then I'm going to get this sealed up here. So I just ripped up this filter box just to kind of set over there to keep debris out while we're working. Now we just got to figure out how to swap out this pump. You can see somebody else had some rather ugly looking connections there, so we'll see if we can do a little better than they did. So there's our brand new pump there, and here's all our other gizmos that we're going to need. Some of this is for different applications, so you won't need all these seals, but you can see there's an O-ring seal that goes around here, so you want to replace that as well. So I'm going to be clipping these off, and I will do them up properly with solder and heat shrink, or you could use a butt connector, but don't do what this guy did. So that just unplugs from there, and then looks like somebody crimped this on. There should be, yeah, there's hose clamps in there. And they never put the pickup filter on. This little filter here goes on the bottom of your pump. They never, or maybe it fell off in the bottom there. Okay, so we're just gonna use some side cutters to cut this clamp off here. Make sure you don't clip that wire. There we go. There we go. So the pump's free. We're going to change that piece of hose anyway, so I'm not worried about that. Okay, we've actually got a new plug in the bag here, so we're going to wire it on, I believe. Okay guys, so you want to tin the tip first. Means you melt some solder onto it. And then that. Oh boy. Okay guys, I got soldered up those connections. Not my prettiest connections, so I didn't show them. And I'm just gonna melt the heat shrink, burn the heat shrink on there. And this is the adhesive lined heat shrink, so it should seal this right up. As we just matched up the O-ring, so we'll replace that. Just going to cut a matching piece of hose to the original length of hose here. So there we go. We will get that. Actually, I think maybe we'll get it on the pump first. Just like that. Put our other hose clamp in place. Oh, we better get that tight first. Okay, so we'll just get this tightened up just with the Phillips here. There we go. There we go, good and snug. Now we plug in our wire again. Just like that. Just make sure that this stuff is clear of your float. It's not going to get in the way of it. Okay, so there's two different pump sheaths here, so we're just going to match it up, and that's the one that matches the original. And you got to pull this plug off the boggin too, otherwise you're going to have problems right away. Okay, so we just have this little pickup filter, little sock they call them, to put on the boggin of the pump. And it's got a little plug in it too, so make sure pull that plug out. Actually what we'll do is we'll put this on, and this just presses on there. Okay, so I got that firmly in place. I think we're actually ready to go back in the tank. I'm just going to double check everything. Okay guys, so we're just ready to drop the pump in again now. And we'll just make sure that this sealing lip here is really nice and clean. Okay, and then your float. Again, remember that your float kind of has to go in first. Put your float in like that. Okay, which way did this go, bud? No, it was like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the float was facing that way.
Yeah. Okay. We're just going to lay that O-ring down so we can see that it's in the groove. Oh, there's a notch there. Okay, there's an alignment notch. We're just being silly here. 2 alignment notches. That's what's holding us up. And the float, you kind of have to lay the float down on the bottom of the tank first. Just make sure that this O-ring is going down properly. We'll hold pressure on it as we install the lock ring to make sure that that O-ring doesn't move or anything. Just make sure you get this on straight. It's easy to cross thread, as you can see. And if you're ever annoyed by one of these plastic lock rings, you've clearly never dealt with one of the metal ones, especially here in the Rust Belt, because they can be a nightmare. So I don't mind this at all. So we're going to tighten it back up the same way we loosened it. See, you can still move that in there, so you don't want that. You need it tight enough that you can't move that. There, that should be really good. We're just gonna get it shoved under and get the lines hooked up first here. Okay guys, well there's a big one and a small one. You'll figure that out. They can only really go one way. So now we got to put this vent on right here. Okay guys, so I successfully got the fuel tank back installed last night. Didn't bother filming any of that process because it was getting dark and there's really not much to show. It's just a reverse of removal. So I did have to add 5 gallons of gas because that tank was pretty well dry because of that leak that I repaired, and that worked out. It's not leaking anymore. And then one other thing I did is I cleaned up all these ground points here. One there, there, and there. And then just these electrical connections and the battery cables, just to make sure my new fuel pump's getting good clean power. Because especially in this case with this vehicle, it had a failed fuel pump. Somebody replaced it and it failed again right away. So that could be a sign of a grounding issue. So now that we've done all that, we're about ready to start. So just going to hook up the battery here, cycle the key on and off about 3 or 4 times to purge out the air in the lines, and then we should fire up. This will be our first time ever seeing this vehicle run actually. Okay guys, well, total success on our fuel pump replacement here, so thanks a lot for watching Matt's Garage. I do hope you found the video helpful and informative. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourself a great day.